Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a B-movie review. Now before I get into the review, I'm going to have to tell you these films' two titles. There's two different titles, one of which is a massive spoiler. So if you don't want to be spoiled at all, please leave now. So I'm going to be having a look at the film Social Nightmare, which is also known as Mother. Now that title there is going to give you pretty much the whole plot of this film and kind of give away kind of the big twist that's at the end, which I don't really know why this was ever considered as a title. And I actually think in certain countries this is actually the title of the movie. Anyway, I'll come back on to that. So basically the plot of this film is a kind of cyberbullying film. Now this movie is actually made by Asylum Pictures, and if you don't know who they are, they're essentially a kind of a very small production company that generally makes kind of what they call mockbuster films, which are kind of just cash-ins on very similar sounding blockbuster movies. So for example, you may have the movie Pacific Rim coming out, and they have made this kind of like a knockoff film called Atlantic Rim. And that's generally what they do. However, they have actually made a few original films, which from the ones that I've seen, admittedly, tend to be slightly better quality. So this film is really a kind of a departure from the kind of the genre films that they tend to make, and it's really a drama more than anything else about cyberbullying. So the film focuses on a character called Kat, who is this young, popular high school student at this kind of an American high school. She's got, you know, she's running for the year president or class president or whatever it is they have in America. You know, she's got lots of friends. She's got a boyfriend. She's doing well at college. She's got accepted into you know, the kind of the university or whatever it is they have. So you know, her life's going pretty good. However, there's a kind of a number of sort of cyber attacks and kind of basically someone sort of going into her sort of social networking sites and ultimately saying kind of inappropriate things, and this sort of escalates as the sort of film goes on, and there's pictures and videos and all sorts of stuff, and this pretty much destroys her sort of social life, any sort of credibility that she sort of has built up within the school and the kind of the school professionals. You know, it gives her problems obviously with her potential career path in regards to sort of her college applications and things like that. And it's really kind of it's an interesting and timely story, obviously, because cyberbullying is a relatively new phenomenon. And so it's an interesting kind of subject to sort of bring up, especially in a kind of a low budget sort of production house like Asylum. Now, I mentioned obviously the kind of the issue with the title, and that is because, and spoiler in case you haven't picked it up already, the person behind this is actually her mother, played by Daryl Hannah, in a kind of weird performance. Now, so let's have a look at that first of all. So the first thing, the title is called Mother, and this is a bizarre way of really kind of ruining the twist of the film, which it does actually, you know, think that it has, although it's a very, very obvious twist. So for some reason, in this film is called Mother in certain countries, and it almost makes it look like a slasher film, which it really isn't. This is a drama, really, more than anything else. But in most countries, I expect it's called, say, The Social Nightmare. It turns out this mother has obviously mental problems and is essentially using this kind of cyberbullying ultimately to sort of try and keep her daughter with her, because she can't bear to kind of let her go to university or college and kind of move away. And this is her way of sort of trying to keep you know, keep her daughter close. You know, for whatever crazy reasons she had. So Daryl Hannah gives an interesting performance here. Now, I have to say, I'll talk about the twist. The kind of the twist is very obvious for a number of reasons. Obviously, Daryl Hannah is the biggest celebrity or star in this movie, so it's obvious right from the get-go that her kind of character is going to be a central part of this film. And you know, when we sort of see the first sort of cyber attack, or the first incident, you know, it's kind of obvious right from the get-go that the kind of the mother is behind it. Because what actually happens is she actually has a quote that's kind of said on a kind of like this Facebook sort of rip-off page. They obviously can't use the real name of Facebook, so they call it something else. But you know, there's only 3 people in the room, and you know, so it's fairly obvious who it is right from the get-go. And as I say, Daryl Hannah gives this very sort of strange performance. I don't know if she's kind of just meant to be acting weird, or whether she's just kind of phoning it in, but nevertheless it comes through as a very odd performance. And anyway, so these sort of, you know, attacks escalate, and no one is kind of none the wiser. No one ever suspects, you know, that it's Daryl Hannah's mother character that's sort of behind this. A few issues that I have with this film. So Daryl Hannah basically creates all these kind of web pages and stuff like that. So we're kind of led to believe she must be sort of relatively tech savvy to sort of do all these things, and she's actually created from scratch this website. hacked into her daughter's email account, falsified letters, everything. But she leaves all this evidence very much on her computer, which, if you were that sort of clever with computers, and she kind of plays it dumb through the film, but nevertheless, she just leaves it pretty much all on her computer desktop, easily for her daughter to find at the end of the film. So that's the first thing. There's also a few sort of plot holes in this movie, again, in regards to some of the stuff that's posted, in particular certain pictures. You're thinking, how the hell has that picture been taken? It's stuff like that. So, again, there's some plot holes. And the whole, as I've alluded to earlier, the whole kind of cyberbullying issue is very pertinent at the moment. And a kind of, you know, it's an interesting subject to have, especially from, you know, silent pictures. And I don't think it's quite as explored as it could have been. And also some of the kind of the reactions that some of the kind of the classmates and her friends have. Although I expect some people to react that, no one kind of actually ever sort of gives any credence to this girl's account that's been hacked and stuff like that. They pretty much all just buy into that she's kind of said all this stuff. And, you know, if people have known this girl and she's been pretty much this sort of straight-A student and very sort of like, you know, straight arrow the whole time, it seems odd that kind of no one really kind of ever sort of properly believes. There's a couple of people kind of on the sort of fence about it, but generally speaking, everyone pretty much just sort of washes their hands of her. So I can't quite believe some of the kind of reactions, and that's more of a script problem. I got to say though, I thought the cast was pretty decent, with the exception of Daryl Hannah's character. I can't tell was acting weird or is just weird. But anyway, I think the rest of the cast are pretty decent and kind of give a good, you know, a good performance in regards to their kind of respective roles of these kind of high school students and stuff like that. I mean, high school in America is different to here it is in the UK. So some of the kind of things that happen there are probably a little bit different to that has in that we have in other countries. So, you know, some stuff maybe if you're kind of watching it from a non-American country may seem a little bit, you know, maybe that wouldn't really happen in your kind of country. So anyway, that's kind of getting off the point slightly here. Nevertheless, I thought it was an interesting premise to have a film about. Not quite explored as much as it could have been, like I said. I also think the idea of having a kind of abusive mother, but using really a kind of more mental abuse is an interesting, you know, sort of subject matter to have kind of intermixed with this kind of cyberbullying thing. Unfortunately, I think, you know, the script is really kind of the lacking here. There's a few other issues I have. I think the music's very good and really doesn't kind of match the film, but nevertheless, there are some good ideas here, regardless of if I don't think they're kind of truly met. The performances I thought were pretty decent, and it's an engaging storyline, even though it's very obvious from the get-go what's actually happened here, so it does make it a little bit frustrating. So it's kind of a mixed bag, this film, and, you know, it's not a horror film, despite some of the covers making it look like that and totally giving the game away who the sort of antagonist is, but then it's a whole other story. Nevertheless, I found it an interesting movie, especially since it came out from the silent pictures. I do feel like because it's coming from them, I'm always kind of giving it a bit more of a free pass than it would if it had come out of someone else. But nevertheless, I'm going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. I actually thought it was not a bad movie for a kind of a low-budget drama film. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment. I will look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.